Hello, it's Nikki. How you doing? Today's episode is all about business and money and offerings and services and selling. So if you want more kind of general life coaching stuff, feel free to go and explore other episodes. But I want to talk about this because my inbox and my client conversations are very expansive at the moment. Lots of people are talking in terms of building and creating and expanding and growing. And quite often that's about money and getting better and improvement and delivering excellence. And I thought it would be interesting to do a bit of a behind the scenes as to why I offer lots of different things and what should you offer and when should you offer it, and I guess sharing a bit of my experience. So I first begun coaching 11 years ago, and I begun by offering one-on-one services. That's all I did, and that's how people could work with me, and that was my only paid offering. As time went on, and also when I became a parent, I started to look at different ways that I could help and support people. Another way that I was supporting people right from the beginning was speaking and workshops. And I was often invited as a workshop leader or to deliver some training or things like that. So that was, and I'm just talking in my coaching business, like I'm hired for other things in terms of acting and writing and things like that, but I'm just sticking to coaching for today. And I'm now at a stage 11 years later where if you came to my website, and this is just again solely for coaching, you might think, oh, there's lots of bits and bobs and different things to choose from. And I know that lots of people would say, just do one thing and deliver it. Like, I know so many actors, like photographers, who just offer 2-hour sessions, 2 actors. They take their photos, they edit them, they send them. Like, that is their whole business model. They don't do anything outside of that. And I guess this is my first point, especially if you're thinking about where you go this year. And this is why it's going to be a 2-parter, because I want you to take some notes. I want you to take these prompts and turn them into yourself and ask yourself, how could this apply? What's important to me? What do I need to bear in mind here for my business? How could this work? What should I explore further, etc.? So the first thing I want to say is you must consider your life before your business. And quite often, people will just consider the business first. So they might just go for the model which is the most profitable or the most fanciest or the most impressive or all of those things. And they may just do that. And what can happen sometimes, and I often will meet these people sort of into their journey where they've built something and it's maybe become, successful, but they might come to me at that point of like, I'm just not feeling it, or it just doesn't feel, something feels a bit off. I need to tweak it. I need to shift it. And sometimes that's because they build this business, but in terms of their life, they don't have the other elements that they want. So maybe they're working all of the time and they're at capacity and they feel like the life side of their life is here, there and everywhere, and they're doing all of the things and they feel stressed or anxious or whatever it might be. And so the first thing I want you to think about is what is important in terms of your life and what do you need to have in place before you build the business or before you rebuild this next chapter. The second thing that came up for me in terms of why I offer lots of different things is because I believe that all of the things that I offer, even though on paper you might think that they're quite different, there is a full circle moment to them. There is a logic to them. And because I have been monetizing my own personal brand for 23, 24 years, I understand what that full circle is. So the work that I do, and people come in at different points with this, is the firstly is about getting really clear on what it is that you want. So the goal setting part, essentially, the planning, the strategy, the visioning, the what's the ideal version, etc. And then in terms of that personal brand, there's often a money part. So the planning and the packaging and the pricing and how you're setting things out and what that service is. The third part is all about communication. So speaking, podcasts, communication, engaging with people, visibly growing your personal brand. And there's always that sort of part. And the fourth, I guess I call like the propel bit. So when people have almost got to that point where they're like, I know what I want and I've priced it really nicely and I'm communicating and I've built this audience, etc. But now I'm ready to like go into fifth gear, like really propel, open up the next lot of opportunities, find that ambition, reignite that passion again. So there's often that moment. And the reason that that full circle movement works really well and why I offer it is because I know how important all of those components are in terms of getting results for somebody. So you might have the big vision and like, this is where I want to take my business and this is what it's all about and this is my strategy. But unless you actually sell something or talk about something, you're not going to get there. Equally, you might be communicating something really well, but if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and you go back to the plan, it's all going to feel a bit out of kilter. And another thing that came up for me is that I have a lot of repeat clients and people who will come back to me again and again. And sometimes they'll come back to me for something different. So like another part they might have worked on, like how I'm pricing and packaging things, and then they want to become a speaker, so they'll go to that area. But then sometimes they just want to revisit and do the full circle again of like, I've got to go back to I've had this so many times where it's like, I've got to go back to the drawing board. I need to revisit this. I need to give some time and some effort and some thought to this. So that for me is important because I know that people will say niche down, but there's something about understanding what that whole 360 version of a personal brand is. It's almost like that moment where you might have different trade workers if you're building a house. The fact that somebody knows that order of events when all the different people should come in and also seeing the house as a whole, it's really, really valuable. So that might be something for you to consider in terms of that full circle moment of why that is so important. Number 3, when I'm thinking about what I want to sell, there are loads of things that potentially I could do. As the same for you. There are loads of things you know about. There are loads of things you've learned and experienced along the way. But I have a bit of a checklist, and maybe you want to take this as well. Number 1, does it feel good? Does it feel good in your stomach? Like when you say it out loud that you do this thing, does it feel good? If it doesn't, get rid of it. Get rid of it because you'll never sell it. If it doesn't feel good, you're not going to talk about it. So it's pointless. It's just taking up space on your website. The second thing, is it relevant? Is it needed? Do people want to buy this? Or is this something in your head that you're like, I don't know. I mean, it could be useful. We'll just see. If you don't know whether it's relevant or not, start to have conversations. And finally, on point number 3 is this helpful? If it's not helpful, if it's not going to actually get something that somebody wants, like a proper result, again, get rid of it or refine it or get clearer on what it is. Because we are not here just to spend our time doing things for the sake of it. You only have to look at a car park or a queue or a room where something is delayed, like a doctor's surgery. People are up, people are looking. It becomes like a whole meerkat thing, checking their watches, what's going on. As much as you might think, for example, like a doctor's surgery or a dentist, oh, people would love just to sit down for 10 minutes and be delayed and read their book and things like that. They don't. People want to do things on their own terms. They want to have that relaxing time when they want to have it. So do that checklist. Does it feel good? Does it feel relevant? And does it feel helpful? Already, I can tell that I need to make this a 4-parter. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. This is the end of part 1. Come back for part 2 and I will see you there. Also, before I go, if you want to do this work of building a personal brand, go to my program section of my website, nickyraby.com/programs. There is so much there to get your teeth into. Right, I'll see you for part 2.